Harlem Talk Radio brings you news and information and stimulating talk radio on the Harlem community. We cover business, education, entertainment, health, politics, technology, finance, and lots more.
Welcome, everyone, to HarlemTalkRadio.com. This is Harlem Roots and Beyond with Lydiga Pass. I'm going to have a wonderful conversation this evening with two public school teachers here in New York City. And we're going to get right into that right after this commercial break.
Hi, this is three-time Tony Award winner Hinton Battle from your favorite Broadway shows like Dreamgirls, Sophisticated Ladies, Miss Saigon. But what I'm excited to talk to you about today is a wonderful new musical that I'm producing called Sisters. I absolutely love this show, and you will too. Based on stories from black women, Sisters is an uplifting musical journey that explores a woman's experience with humor, humility, and sass. Songs by artists like Billie Holiday, Lena Horne, Aretha Franklin, and Beyonce. Sisters will rock you to your core. The music, the moment, the message will be etched in your memory forever. So start texting, tell your friends, get on the phone and order your tickets now to see Sisters at the St. Luke's Theater. For tickets, visit telecharge.com or call 212-239-6200. Sisters.
Welcome back, family, to Harlem Roots and Beyond for this Thursday, August 30th, 2012. I have two wonderful guests in my audience this evening, in my studio with me, to speak to the audience about their experiences as New York City public teachers. I'm not going to use their full names because we want this conversation to be a bit provocative, so I'm going to use their initials, and we're going to get into it. I have two brothers, and the intention of this was to bring men into the studio to talk about their experiences. There's actually a long-standing tradition of women going into teaching, and there is a shortage of males going into the profession. So I wanted to have two brothers come in and talk about their experiences. So I have Sal B and LP. Sal B teaches grades 9 through 12. His expertise is science, biology, and chem. And I have LP, who teaches K through 8, and he teaches music. So I want to introduce both of my gentlemen. I'm going to start with Sal B. How are you, bro?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. And I want to say hello to my LP while we're at it.
Thank you, Lydia, for inviting me to come.
All right.
Nice meeting you, LP. I'm sorry.
No, my brothers saying hi to each other. So one of the things that I wanted to go right into was just something basic. Was teaching something that you always wanted to pursue, or was it something that came along later in life?
I think it was something natural. I think teaching was something natural to me. I'm the eldest of 7 children, so I was always a leader. I've worked as a sub and also did a lot of tutoring at different community colleges. So yeah, it's been something in the making.
Right on, right on. LP?
Well, it's something I didn't intentionally get into at first. I'm a musician and I wanted to just play music, but eventually I needed health benefits. It was a good path to having a pension. I raised a family, and I started late in the career of teaching, and I'm glad I did, because I wouldn't have had the patience or been able to handle it in my 20s.
And we're going to go into what that means a little bit, family,
Okay.
Throughout the show with respect to patience. And we all know that the New York City public school system is going through quite a bit of disarray and dysfunction, to say the least. And I wanted to get a sense of what you both thought, and I'll start this question with LP, about mayoral control and how does that affect the system of education here in New York City?
Wow, that's a loaded question. All I have to say is I feel for the kids in the public school system. I can tell you stories that will make you cry and laugh, which I don't want to do right now, because I have cried going home at night, seeing some of the things. When Mayor Bloomberg became mayor for the 3rd term, I call it the king, whatever mayor or ship. All the test scores across New York State went up, the standardized testing. We'd administer those tests every year. I administer them. He took credit for that. He improved the Board of Education. Look, the standards. All the kids are now smarter. The teachers are doing a better job, and it's proven by these test scores. He was reelected. Good job, Mayor Bloomberg. The following year, all the test scores went down. My question is to Mayor Bloomberg, what happened to those kids? Did they get stupid overnight? Or was it no reason to fudge the numbers because it wasn't an election year? I think that's the reason. It wasn't an election year. So now we go back to what we normally do. It's a numbers game, a dog and pony show, and it's a shame that the kids are the ones who lose out.
I'm going to stay with you just for a few moments with respect to the idea of, a bureaucrat, right, and a businessman coming into the business of education and running it like a business. So his thing is, well, test scores and what happened to critical thinking and what happened to expanding a child's mind through experiences within the educational system.
Well, we have the workshop model is a system where you have to teach certain things at a certain time in certain intervals, 20 minutes for reading, 15 minutes for sharing. Kids don't work like that. Human beings don't work in these little brackets of 15 minutes, be on page 96, and that's it. I mean, maybe a kid gets sick. Maybe two kids get into a fight. Who knows what happens? These are not robots. They don't give enough chance to the teachers to really do anything outside of the box. If you're not on page 96 on Wednesday and the principal walks in and you're the math teacher, all fifth graders should be on page 96, and if you're not, well, you could get written up for that.
Just to add on to what he was saying, I just feel like the whole practice of teaching is not organic at all. If you have budget cuts and education is being limited by the amount of money, then it just represents more of a capitalistic type society or classroom, right? And I think the children actually learn capitalism through the classroom. For the mere fact that you have one teacher, 35 students, you have a boss, the students are your workers, it's not organic. I mean, they have to face the front, And again, with the whole budget cuts and Bloomberg controlling the school system, it's really terrible.
Well, they're trying to make us, they want to bust up the union, I believe. There's that fight between charter schools and public schools. Public schools aren't as good as charter schools. That's the argument. Charter schools do better. Yes, charter schools, I believe they do better. You know why? Because they have the best kids, the smart kids.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying they're the better, but they're smarter, but they're the level 3s and 4s.
Right. And
they're not picking the level 1s and 2s. If my principal were to tell me, Mr. P, could you please pick the best 25 kids in the 5th grade and make them your 5th grade class, I'm not going to pick certain kids because I know they might be struggling.
Let me jump in here for a minute on that note. So you guys have a classroom of 35 and you have to do your assessments as to which kids I mean you're seasoned teachers. You can tell within a day or so who's going to be thriving, who's interested in being there,
right,
who's there on time, who's prepared, right? And so how do you even manage without the kids getting an idea of what you're doing, right? Because you have to teach.
Right.
How do you get those kids who are the level 3, 4 kids that would be going into a charter that's in your class to thrive within an environment that may be hectic and scandalous, and the 1s and 2s, there's a lot of fighting and it's a lot of ADD and it's a lot of, right? So how do you, maybe the easy question is, how do you sort within the classroom and do the best for those kids who are there to learn, and then while trying to teach the other kids who may have difficulty learning?
Yes, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for some teachers. My heart really goes out to, I'm a music teacher, but my heart goes out to those, those teachers, math teachers, the reading teachers that have to deal with those standardized tests and have to move these kids from level 2 to 3 and are being pounded every day by the principal to move them up when they have all these kids with all these special needs,
undiagnosed
issues. Some parents that really don't care. It's true. Some parents really don't care, but they're parents that really do care.
I believe.
Okay.
I think, Lydia, what you're asking is how do you make those assessments in a timely fashion that benefits everyone?
Yes.
To a degree, it's possible, to make an assessment, because you kind of guide what type of what you're looking for, the type of assessments that you're making. The question is, can we deliver after making that assessment? Again, my whole argument is that it's a lot difficult actually, because of the amount of students that are in the classroom. I mean, 35 is a bit much. I mean, again, with the behavioral issues, or again, sometimes you might have language barriers. Like, even if you can make an assessment, how can I give attention to all those students and all those needs?
Right.
That's the issue, And with the budget cuts, the classrooms aren't going to be cut any smaller, In fact, we're probably in risk of increasing class sizes.
The services are being cut. Bilingual programs are being cut. So it's going to get to the point where we're going to have bilingual kids in regular mainstream classes.
Yes.
All total inclusion classes. We have special ed kids, bilingual kids. So now you're dealing with all these issues. What if the teacher is not bilingual?
Right.
But has to teach them.
Absolutely.
And it happens. I've had kids from Africa in my class. Couldn't speak a word of English.
Well, the school that I'm currently at, there's about 250 bilingual students, or students who don't even speak English, out of a population of maybe 17,000, which is a little more than 10%. It's really hard to manage. Really hard to manage that type of, with those populations. We either dealing with the bottom third,
So, family, we are here with two educators from the New York City Department of Education here with us in the studio tonight. And I just wanted to let you guys know, if you're just tuning in, we're not going to use full names because of the obvious. We want to be able to have a provocative discussion with two gentlemen who want to come in and talk about their profession. And I'm truly honored to have them here, because as a product of the New York City Public School system myself, I do recall, and this was in the 70s, 80s, family, we didn't have much around class size issues, but we did have issue around different kinds of personalities, behavioral disorders mixing in together. So the bright kids, so to speak, you know how there's a belief that bright kids get bored easily, so when they go into classrooms and they know the work, they become agitated, and then they become, the class clown, and then they distract from other kids who might need the help. And so you're dealing, as teachers, you are teaching, you are parenting, you are social workers, add in some more things that you are in that classroom. You're parents, right? You have to be a parent almost.
You are sometimes the first
we're
parent.
Students too. We're learning every day. It's really something. As a music teacher, let me speak on behalf of the arts, right? They cut the arts program. That's the first thing they cut. Not every child is going to be a doctor or a lawyer, and music does save lives. I have a situation where, for example, this one kid, the social worker came up to me. He was an 8th grader, and he was always getting into fights, into problems, and said, Mr. P, could you maybe do something with him? I said, well, you want to join the band? He said, yes. I had him sign a behavior contract where it had to be signed by the teacher, the parent, and himself, stating that he would do all his work, and I would check up on him, blah, blah, blah. And he did better, because of that. All the calls that he would get from the school to his mother, who never came to school, were, your son was in a fight, he's doing this, doing that. So the mother doesn't pick up the phone. Mother never came to school till the day of the concert. when she was there, and this boy came up to me and said, "You know, Mr. P, my mom's here." He was dressed in a white shirt and black pants, only knew 2 notes on the trombone. And I said, "Wow, she's here." I looked at her, the first time she ever came, to see her son play. Probably got a call that her son was actually doing something positive. She showed up.
But it was the mere fact that you reached out to this child and knew that there was an emotional side that he was probably lacking at home is what made it so effective.
Yes, and he'll remember that for the rest of his life, that
Definitely.
positive moment.
Right.
I mean, that was one of those moments that, I mean, the kid wanted to cry. I was crying. I told him, "You're my star soloist. Play those 3 notes like nothing else, man. Just don't stop."
And I think that's one of the main things that I have an issue with is reaching out to the emotional aspect of learning. Like, teaching is not something where, you know, I teach them formulas or whatnot. It's me being a parent, as she was saying, and giving my heart and soul. And the students know when you're fudging,
Right.
when you're not real, and when you truly do not care about them.
Exactly.
They feel it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think as an African American male teacher, especially in science, which we have a low representation, I think it's very effective not only to teach them the content, but again, personality and emotions again.
Right.
Is there a personal story that you could share about a student that you broke through? You know, maybe a challenging student that you said, "Oh man, why is this happening to me?" And then by the end of the semester, there was some light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, I can't think of a particular story because I think that that's a story that's daily. There's always a challenging student, a student that wants you to reach out to them. That's something daily. So for me having a particular moment, not really, but I can tell you that those things happen on a daily basis. That's your job. That's part of the job description. That's unwritten.
Yes.
You know?
So, family, I also would like you, if you're listening in, please log on, get connected to us. HarlemTalkRadio.com is our website. We are also on Facebook, so find us there, Harlem Talk Radio on Facebook. And you'll be able to catch us, you know, catch segment 1 as we wrap up, and then we're going to go into segment 2 in a little bit. Actually, it's great that Sal B mentioned a lack of representation in math and science with men of color in the profession, and there's something called STEM.
STEM. Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about what STEM is? And 'cause I had to write it down to remember it. I got it. So STEM, family, for those of you who do not know, the acronym is science, technology, engineering and mathematics. And so since there's such a low representation in those areas, there is a push actually to get more young people involved in those activities and academic endeavors, and then get people to come in to teach. Is there at your school a strong support of STEM programming? Or is that something that's like, you know, something that we just have to do because it's science related?
I'm not quite sure if there's a strong push for STEM, where it's like at the forefront of the school. But I take it upon myself to make science and mathematics important. You know, I think culturally we had the mathematics and science, and I, as an African American teacher, try to emphasize that this was part of your culture and we shouldn't lose it. And again, me being in the classroom is just a push for this. You know, when a student see me, a young male teacher, African American, I think that's inspiring. You know, not only am I there, but I'm voiceful. You know, pretty much.
It's important. It's important to have male teachers, people of color. I'm Puerto Rican. You know,
Puerto Rican.
I'm Puerto Rican, very poor.
Puerto Rican.
You know, we all come from the same place.
Yes.
Up there.
Yeah.
And I feel that these kids need, you know, positive role models. Because I mean, I see them, and there's plenty of negative role models out there.
Definitely.
And we are not the ones that they look up to.
Right.
They see us going to work with a shirt and tie, doing our job, and the people that they are looking up to are the ones with the chains, with the pants sagging down. Yeah, they're being brainwashed by some of these videos. I know as a musician, yes, I want to be, make money, but these images that are portrayed, we have to, as teachers, we have to deal with that every day.
The counterculture.
The consequences of what they see and what they're being fed by the media. The words, the dancing. They really need to look up to different type of mentors. Either we're going to mentor them or they'll be mentored by somebody else.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line.
And it's our job to give them that alternative, and say that it's acceptable. It's okay to be intelligent and smart,
Yes.
Oh, see, and I love you guys are making my job easier, because I was just going there with the idea that being smart isn't cool in a lot of our urban areas, I'll put it that way. And so how do you guys on a daily basis go into your classrooms, you have your lesson plans ready, you're going to hit the ground running, but you have to instill that pride in those children to say, something, it's okay. It's okay to be bright. It's not, that's only going to get you far. Right. So challenges or thoughts about that, like when you see kids and you go, oh my God, this is a bright kid, but he wants to, walk around acting a fool, so to speak. How do you get through to that kid?
Well, it's a difficult thing because, a lot of them are looking for an excuse to get away from gang violence or the streets. They're looking to say, hey, no, I'm not going to go hang out. I got to go play piano, or I got to go do something else. If they don't have that opportunity, then they have to do something else. And I've spoken to some kids, from the South Bronx. I mean, I deal with, gang members, kids, young bloods, young Crips. Everybody's a gang member. Everybody's wearing a different colored T-shirt or hat. And very intelligent.
Definitely.
Someone very intelligent. I was talking to this one kid, and I was telling him a story about this kindergarten kid who told me he was a blood.
Kindergarten.
A kindergarten kid who was on the floor, being held down by a couple of teachers, and he said he was a blood. Then he said, I wanted to die. So we're mandated. EMS comes, they strap him to a chair, take him to Lincoln Hospital. We do a lockdown of the floor because we don't want the other kids to see this little boy get taken away to psychiatric ward. That's kindergarten. That kid should be talking about something else, not I want to die. Obviously, there are problems with that. I talked back about being mentored. They're looking for family. Gangs are families.
Yes.
Definitely.
Definitely.
So they're looking for family, and many of them don't have it. So someone's going to take them under their wing and help them. And we can do it, or they're going to find someone to do it. And sometimes young kids don't always make the best decisions.
But I think, as you said, when you pull that kid aside, that, as you said, the kid who was having issues with his mother, those are the moments where you're able to instill that being intelligent is okay. Again, as I said, like telling students that being intelligent, that's a daily mantra in my class. It's okay to raise your hands. You reward kids for being intelligent, daily. Even throwing candy at them. This is okay. Give them some type of incentive.
That's right.
It could be something small, but you have to give them instant gratification and show them it's okay. Putting points on the board, right? Using myself as an example, like, look where I am. I also teach at the college level. Without science and mathematics, I wouldn't be here, right? So I'm that daily reminder of what you can be, And again, as he was saying, is you reach out to that kid, pull that kid aside, and that's so meaningful,
No, absolutely meaningful.
It's important to give them positive. I call up a parent to just say, Jonathan had a good day today.
Great day.
Jonathan. You know what Jonathan did today? Especially, I make it a point. This is a kid perhaps who only get calls about being in fights. I said, you know what? This mom is going to freak out when I call her up. She's going to say, it's the school calling up again. I said, Mrs. Jones, yes, what did he do?
Think.
No, relax. Your boy did great today. Oh, my God.
Thank you.
That will help so much. So I think people should really reward these kids
Positive
when they do well.
Yep.
Right. And the positive reinforcement coming from the teacher to the parent then translates from parent to child, and then that relationship is not so skewered, right? And tied up, because the kid is not going to say, oh man, the school called and I'm in trouble. Meanwhile, mom she has a smile on her face saying, yeah, Mr. P called, and guess what? He did tell me how great you did today. Right. But what does that do to a child's self-esteem? What does that do to his spirit to say, wow, okay, he doesn't only see the bad stuff in me every day. Right. He has balance. And I will say to both of you that that's another thing that as educators to always keep in mind, right? Because we always know when kids are being bad, that's the obvious, right? That's the one that stands out the most. But when they do something subtly sweet, something thoughtful for a classmate, that you notice, it's kind of cool to say, you know what, that was a good job, dude. That was a sweet thing you did to that young lady today, or whatever it is. We have to get back to that. So family, we are here with 2 educators from the New York City Public School System, and we're having a wonderful conversation. My producer is looking at me.
Because I want to say something. Both of the gentlemen talked about rewarding. I wanted to find out how do they feel about Jeffrey Canada's program. I mean, he has his philosophy of rewarding kids as well.
Yes.
Maybe they can elaborate on that. You want to throw that back at them?
I got you. Oh. So our producer is talking about Jeffrey Canada. He's the CEO and president of the Harlem Children's Zone here in Harlem. And he is actually building charter schools from the ground up here in Harlem. So he's not doing any co-locations. And one of the things that he is most known for is being a huge proponent of incentives. So he pays children. He gives them stipends to go to school. He rewards them with trips at the end of the school year. So we just wanted to know your thoughts about the incentivization process. Now remember, this is a charter school, so it's a whole another stream of money coming in. Right. But if you had the opportunity to incentivize, how would you do it and how far would it go?
I think teachers do that all the time.
I mean, personally do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's legal or not. But
you pay them?
I pay them if they do well on exams, especially Regents exam. I would offer them cash rewards. Wow. And I give them several slots: first, second, third, and maybe possibly fourth or fifth.
Sounds good to me.
It's something that's from the heart. So right. I don't mind putting out that type of money. Sometimes you might get $100, but the attention that you get. And it's also reinforcing that when I do good, I'm going to be rewarded. It's the same thing as a scholarship. Mm-hmm. So you kind of starting that seed early.
Many teachers, I'm sure teachers spend a lot of money, may not prizes, iPods, little things, treasure sheds, whatever. Little incentives to have your child do better. Points on the board. Once you get 20 points, you get to go into the bag and get something. Charter schools, I need to say something about charter schools. I'm not familiar with the policies of this particular gentleman, but like I said, charter schools teach level 3s and 4s. If that's charter school or the charter schools you're talking about are going to be teaching all kids level 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, and not kicking them out when they're struggling, because I've seen charter schools where they'll kick a child out
because they can choose the type
because they're not making the grade. And all of a sudden, they're going to say, look, if you can't keep up, well, we're going to have to kick you out. And they kick them out, and they go back. We don't have that luxury.
Right. No.
So to me, it's a no-brainer. That's when a teacher should really be teaching.
So we are going to wrap up segment 1, gentlemen. We're going to go into segment 2 after this commercial break. Hold tight.
Harlem Talk Radio brings you news and information at stimulating talk radio on the Harlem community. We cover business, education, entertainment, health, politics, technology,